Continuing from the previous episode 1085. It's really a huge lineup. Xiao Yan looked at the aura emanating from the hundreds of powerhouses in front of him. Without any fear, he directly faced this tyrannical aura and spoke to the Xuanling King word for word. Said, however, in the depths of his pupils, there was still a slight pain in the flesh, because many of the powerhouses in front of him were all his own elders, and now they were actually controlled by the Xuanling King, and a feeling of anger and worry slowly emerged. Second brother. Xiao Yi and Long Yi both came directly to Xiao Yan, trying to resist this momentum, but Xiao Yan waved his hand and stopped him. My king. Wen Zi was about to say something just now, but was also stopped directly by King Xuanling. You go down. There are some miscellaneous fish outside Xuanling Mountain, you can solve it. King Xuanling ordered. Yes. Wen Zi heard the words and left here directly. Haha, Xiao Yan, I have to say that you are very courageous. Seeing Wen Zi disappear, King Xuanling stared at Xiao Yan, who was under enormous pressure in front of him, and laughed. You bastard! Long Yi and Xiao Yi, who were on the side, both turned their eyes towards the Xuanling King and became hideous. Hoo! It's really a weak force. At the next moment, Xiao Yan directly shook the momentum away, muttering to himself, although there was blood on the corner of his mouth because of the shock. They used to be your close relatives, but now they have become my slaves. As long as I give an order, they will be scattered. And you kid, I'm afraid there are some secrets on your body, otherwise how dare you kill so many powerful people in my Xuanling royal family? You'd better invite him out. Otherwise, you will die today. King Xuanling was not in a hurry and said slowly. Xiao Yan, these guys have been completely controlled by him, don't act recklessly. Kai Lin looked at Xiao Yan's determined eyes and said solemnly. Second brother, these people are under the control of King Xuanling, more than a dozen Do Xian and many 9-star Do Di. And when Xiao Yi glanced at the back of King Xuanling, those scenes, it was him cannot help but startled. Okay, that's what you want. And when Xiao Yan heard the words, there was blood in his pupils, and he knew that today might be a mortal situation. After Xiao Yan finished speaking, he twisted his fingers slightly, and then an indescribable terrifying black ghostly energy emerged directly from Najia. What is this? King Xuanling just saw this thing, and his eyes suddenly lit up. With his current strength, he knew that the strength of this thing in front of him was stronger than any ghost world powerhouse he had come into contact with before. Powerful. No matter where you are today, you have to stay here completely. Zan Kang, stop him! After a short while, King Zan Ling ordered directly, and after speaking, Zan San, who was tyrannical to the 2-star Do Xian beside him, directly faced the Black Qi outside Xiao Yan. Sure enough, it is a 2-star fighting immortal. The Soul Eater had just left Xiao Yan's Soul Eater talisman body, but at this time, he had turned into a black gas. Boom boom boom. Zan Kang didn't seem to intend to give Soul Eater a chance to breathe, and attacked directly. Nice attack, the Lord of Soul Eater said lightly, and the ghostly energy wrapped around his body continued to emerge, resisting Zan Kang. You guys, stop Long Yi and Xiao Yi for me. In the next moment, King Xuanling said to a group of fighting immortals. Yes, my king. King Xuanling gave an order. Those strong people were directly dominated by the sect master of the poison sect, with a strange blood color in their pupils. Then 10 fighting immortal strong men attacked Long Yi and Xiao Yi. And go! 10 fighting immortals. Who can stand it? Long Yi and Xiao Yi couldn't help but move when they saw this. Obviously, with their strength, they were not enough to deal with so many powerhouses. Do it! Xiao Yi also said in a deep voice. They all knew that today was probably a real death battle. These little guys. The Soul Eater Lord He Tuan, who was able to deal with Zan Kang with ease, smiled slightly when he saw this. Peefed! In just a few breaths, the 10 Do immortals completely surrounded Control Soul and Xiao Yi. Forget it. These guys are too strong for them. After a while, the Master of Soul Eater also had an answer in his heart. Blood River Bell. Crash. As Soul Eater's muttering fell, a delicate bell filled with countless blood-colored mysterious runes slowly appeared in everyone's sight. This is Blood River Bell, the evil soldier in the ghost world? When he saw this scene, the calm King Xuanling was immediately surprised, and then his pupils were filled with greed. With the strength of his Xuanling King now, coupled with this evil soldier, It is enough to fight beyond the ranks, so this thing must be obtained. You guys, give it to me. This bell must be obtained. King Xuanling said to a group of figures around him. Boom boom boom. After a while, the Blood River bell directly enveloped all the powerhouses present, and then A** color directly included all the powerhouses in it. I'll leave the rest to you. The Lord of Soul Eater watched as the 10 Do Xian were temporarily imprisoned by Shui He Ling, and the remaining 9-star Do Emperor and other strong men said to Long Yi and Xiao Yi www. Link to novelmtl.com good. Long Yi and Xiao Yi were overjoyed when they saw this. The strength of the two of them, it is still possible to stop these 9-star fighting emperors and 8-star fighting emperors for a while. Xiao Yan, success or failure depends on you. After the Master of Soul Eater finished speaking, he was resisting Zon Kang's attack. I can't see that you have a lot of secrets in this kid. That group of black gas should be a strong person in the ghost world, right? Seeing the 10 fighting immortals around him being sucked into the Blood River Bell, the Xuanling King had no worries, but a trace of ecstasy emerged, because this is enough to prove the tyranny of Blood River Bell. My secrets, there are quite a few. Among them, killing you human beings who have been polluted by evil races from outside the territory is the first one. Xiao Yan smiled while staring at King Xuanling. I'm not ashamed to say. Don't worry, I won't let you die too fast, I will torture you well. You can't live without dying. Ha ha ha. King Xuanling's evil laughter filled the entire altar. How can the 7-star Do Di fight with the Xuanling King who is a complete 1-star Do Xian? Mu Yingying couldn't help worrying about the conversation between Xiao Yan and the Xuanling King, because the difference in strength between the two it's too obvious. I'm afraid Xiao Yan has no chance of winning. And what puzzled Mu Yingying the most was, why did Xiao Yan fight? Even though he knew he couldn't beat him, he still had to bite the bullet, ignoring the threat of being seriously injured and falling. What is this human emotion? It is said that there is a way in the Holy Flame, which can have the power to instantly change the situation of the battle, but the price is too huge. Mu Yingying's beautiful eyes turned slightly, and a relationship with Xiao Yan kept emerging in her mind. Bit by bit, an immature idea emerged. Continuing from the previous episode 1086. Ha ha ha, boy. Feel the embrace of death. The next moment, King Xuanling ignored the other battles, raised his fingers slightly, and swept away from where Xiao Yan was. Crash! A beam of destruction fused by the power of life and death, black and white, directly attacked Xiao Yan with the majestic power to destroy everything. 7th layer breaking the Sky Ruler. 7 feet in a row. When Xiao Yan saw this attack, his brows wrinkled, obviously from a long distance, he could feel the terrifying power contained in it. Shabu Shabu. 7 incomparably huge 100-foot-long ons poured down directly from the ancient ruler of the Eternal Fire, Eternal Fire. Immediately, when they kept surging, the 7 huge Kai-shaped ons were vaguely converged into 1,000 Zhong-sized beam. Amazing light. After a few breaths, Xiao Yan's 1,000-foot-inch beam and Xuanling King's black and white finger beams touched each other lightly. Whoosh whoosh. The terrifying ripples that were enough to destroy the 7-star Do Emperor or even the 8-star Do Emperor suddenly emerged from the center of the battle. And that kind of stalemate fluctuation didn't last long. Xiao Yan's ray of light suddenly dimmed, and then it was completely penetrated by the black and white light beam, and then hit Xiao Yan hard. Peefed! A mouthful of bright red blood was spit out by such a powerful blow. If it wasn't for the attack of the 7th layer breaking Sky Ruler that greatly weakened this power of life and death, I'm afraid that Xiao Yan's strength in the middle stage of the 7-star Do Emperor would have completely fallen under this attack. Being attacked in this way, Xiao Yan's aura became slightly quieter, apparently because of King Xuanling's attack, and because of the battle chi consumed by the use of the 7th level breaking Sky Ruler. Ha ha ha, I see how many times you can resist. Seeing Xiao Yan's appearance, King Xuanling couldn't help laughing. Obviously, he was enjoying this feeling very much at this time. Xuanling hand. At the next moment, the figure of King Xuanling leapt into the sky and said to Xiao Yan. As soon as the voice fell, an incomparably huge blood-red hand appeared slowly. The Xuanling hand Xiao Yan has also dealt with it before, but no one has the power of the Xuanling King. The sky, the first finger, second finger, third finger, And Xiao Yan gritted his teeth hard when he saw the attack that could easily destroy him. Immediately, his dark pupils suddenly closed, and an extremely terrifying wave also emerged. Boom, boom, boom. The two were fighting each other, but this time, it was Xiao Yan who was still injured. After all, there was a 4-level difference in strength between the two. Peefed. Zaidu spurted out a mouthful of blood. Xiao Yan's face was extremely pale at this time. The power in this guy is not right. It's clearly a human being, but the power of the evil races outside the body is so strong, and maybe it has the smell of a blood demon. Xiao Yan's breath was extremely weak, but he continued to analyze. Xiao Yan knew that his last trump card now was only 2 Saint Flame crystals. However, the Holy Flame crystal of Ghostface and Soul Flame can only be used completely by beheading the Gorefiend. Now the last half of the Gorefiend is missing inexplicably, and Xiao Yan's attack just now was to prove his conjecture. The reason why King Xuanling possessed such a strong foreign power is because he swallowed the Gorefiend. It seems to be true, there is only that way. Although I'm a little reluctant to give up, but, Xiao Yan said, a sudden burst of determination. Xiao Yan had tasted the power of combining the 2 holy flames before, but he was resisted by them. The source of the resistance factor was not the power of the 2 holy flames, but the difference in the depths of Xiao Yan's body. Fire. Therefore, Xiao Yan guessed that if he wanted to fuse holy flames, he would have to expel all the strange fires in his body before they could fuse perfectly. Kid, die. And King Xuanling seemed to have lost his patience as he watched passively being beaten all the time. A trace of blood-colored evil aura continued to radiate from under his feet, a burst of energy that was enough to kill duty peak powerhouses. Killing move, slowly brewing. Only by detonating the source of 23 kinds of different fires, can the resistance of the different fires to the holy flame be completely eradicated. But this is a gamble. After the expulsion, there will be no strange fire in the body. Maybe it will hurt the source. If at that time, the holy flame can't be merged, then. Teacher Goody Tuash, bless me. Xiao Yan muttered softly, and then did not hesitate. Xiao Yan, what do you want to do? That thing is absolutely not good. Kai Lin suddenly said, as if realizing Xiao Yan's decision. Is there a better way? Xiao Yan asked. For the time being, no more, but you still have other things to do. In that case, the price would be too high. Kaelin said, I won't watch the people around me fall in front of me, unless they step on my corpse. After Xiao Yan finished speaking, without hesitating, he directly activated the internal burning art. Yuo square, come out for me. Xiao Yan hummed suddenly, and a square with a size of several hundred meters appeared directly. What is this? Looking at this sudden appearance, King Xuanling couldn't help hesitating. With his perception, he could smell the smell of flames from the square of different fire. The power of this flame. There is no holy flame tyrannical, but it should not be underestimated. The 23rd on the different fire list, Zan Wangyan, return to your place. The 22nd on the list of different fires, the fire of all beasts, return to your place. Quote. Second in the list of different fires, nothingness swallows the flames, return to your place. The strange fire in the Yin corpse forest, return to your place. As Xiao Yan continued to speak out, the flames of different colors burst out of Xiao Yan's body directly, and all attached to the huge stone pillars in the square of different fire. Humph. Boy, no matter how many tricks you play, you can't escape death today. King Xuanling said resentfully, and the attack in his hand did not stop. Ha ha ha. King Xuanling, if you want to take my Xiao Yan's life, then I will also give you a big gift. The power of the strange fire, give me a blast. Explode, explode. And Xiao Yan saw that as many as 23 kinds of different fires appeared here, and his heart was slightly reluctant, but for the lives of Sheng Yan and everyone, he directly drank at one sound. What? As Xiao Yan's voice fell, a majestic energy that penetrated the sky and the earth suddenly compressed and suddenly burst out. Self-exploding strange fire? Big brother, you, and Xiao Yi, who was beside him, felt Xiao Yan's means and couldn't help roaring. For Xiao Yan, the strange fire is no different from life. If 23 kinds of strange fire are directly detonated, I am afraid that the sequelae will be quite serious. Let him go. And Long Yi said slightly, haha, good boy. I didn't expect that this guy really found out. Although the different fire is good, it is not enough to accommodate the rules of this great world. Only the holy flame can help you reach the peak, and the different fire is only your obstacle. Abandon the strange fire and obtain the holy flame to truly transform. Break and then stand. I am afraid that the tyrannical power obtained by detonating the strange fire can cause a lot of injuries to the Xuanling King. The Soul Eater on the side said with a smile. Ha ha ha, King Xuanling, feel the great gift I gave you. After Xiao Yan directly cut off the connection between the strange fire and himself, it exploded. At that time, there was no trace of the power of the strange fire in Xiao Yan's body. And because of this detonation, Xiao Yan's power suddenly dropped to the level of a 5-star fighting emperor. This little bastard. And King Xuanling watched the flames full of devouring, ice and many properties explode at the same time, and a touch of fear poured into his heart. Boom boom boom. Detonating 23 kinds of different fires, such a means, throughout the ages, I am afraid that only Xiao Yan has such audacity. In the entire altar, a world of flames like the end of the world was slowly born. There are too many different fires. I will expel them all here, otherwise the writing will be too complicated and everyone will look ugly. However, these strange fires, the flame beasts in Xiao Yan's body and Xiao Yi still have their origins, and there will be drama in the future. Still coding guarantee 4 changes. End of this chapter. Continuing from the previous episode 1087. Boom boom boom. Rounds of flames and heat waves, like a world-annihilating frenzy, leaned away directly at Xuanling King. Damn little beast. Under the extremely hot flames, King Xuanling couldn't help roaring. Obviously, although these strange fires are not as tyrannical as holy flames, each fire is just the mysterious power contained in it, and it is enough to make Xuanling King suffer greatly. Xiao Yan. Seeing Xiao Yan so weak, a trace of sadness could not help but emerge from the beautiful eyes of Kaylin on the side. Obviously, he was able to force Xiao Yan to detonate all the strange fires. This King Xuanling was also proud. On the other hand, after Xiao Yan detonated so many different fires, Yan Kai on the other side actually regained his sanity temporarily with the help of that extremely terrifying power. Where is this? Yan Kai opened his mouth slightly, very at a loss. Brother. And Mu, who was still worried about Xiao Yan just now, heard the words, and the tears came out like a dam bursting. Yingying, don't cry, I will take you home. And Yanxi comforted. As soon as he finished speaking, he looked around, only to find that Xiao Yan was already in a state of exhaustion. What's going on? Yan Kai couldn't help asking. Brother, you are straight from the blood river. Mu Yingying explained it again. Xiao Yan, this guy, it seems. Yan Kai felt more or less emotional when he heard the words. As soon as the voice fell, the eyes of the three were attracted by the extremely hot fluctuations in the sky. Ha ha ha, little beast, I didn't expect you to have such means. It really surprised me. If it wasn't for the power of the Gore Fiend, I'm afraid I would have fallen. But you shouldn't feel bad after so many flames have been detonated, right? And the huge blood-red evil aura completely replaced the ghost energy and the power of life and death on Xuanling King's body. Roaring at Xiao Yan, you bastard, you are insane, as expected. And when the flames dissipated, Xiao Yan finally confirmed his guess. The remaining power of the Gore Fiend was indeed swallowed up by the Xuanling King. At this time, King Xuanling was quite embarrassed, and his clothes were tattered. Through the clothes, one could vaguely find a rather evil figure on his chest, slowly emerging. That's the Gore Fiend. Crazy? Everything is just a matter of preying on the weak. And King Xuanling didn't show any signs of concealing it. If he hadn't wanted Xiao Yan and the others to see his flame-swallowing feast, I'm afraid they would have already become the souls of his subordinates at this time. Moreover, the Gore Fiend had been completely swallowed by the Xuanling King, but its phantom appeared on his chest. But it's time to end. Death to me. The next moment, King Xuanling flew directly towards Xiao Yan, and the speed was astonishing. Second brother, Xiao Yan, Long Yi, Xiao Yi, Kai Lin, and Mu Yingying couldn't help worrying about each other. The four of them just wanted to go to help Xiao Yan, but they were stopped by their strong men. Couldn't help but blushed. Zuner, Kaylin, I may have to break my promise. Xiao Yan watched the incomparable figure of King Xuanling slowly enlarge in his pupils, and a crazy thought also echoed in his mind. Xiao Yan, you dare! Xiao Xiao, and I will never forgive you." At this time, Kai Lin's strength of 10 colors continued to emerge from her body, but she was still unable to break free from the shackles of the pillar, so she couldn't help roaring at Xiao Yan. "If you have a chance to go back, tell Xiao Xiao for me that I am not a qualified father. And say something to my dad and teacher. I'm sorry." After Xiao Yan finished speaking, the corner of his mouth suddenly became very strange, and then on his forehead, a mysterious blood-colored rune floated out, even covering his entire body. "Exudes a breath of Flame King. This is, to blow yourself up. Don't." And Mu Yingying suddenly discovered something, and hurriedly shouted. The tears couldn't stop flowing. "Self-destruction? You don't have that chance. Since I have ruined my Xuanling royal family for so many things, they also killed many of my disciples. You just die and pay for their lives." After King Xuanling finished speaking, his figure appeared beside Xiao Yan like a ghost, and then he raised his bloody, evil palm and patted Xiao Yan lightly. "Ha ha ha, King Xuanling, even if I die, Xiao Yan, I will never make you feel better. Let's go to *** together." After Xiao Yan finished speaking, his aura suddenly rose, and the next moment he was about to explode out of control. Crash! At this moment, the temperature on the entire altar suddenly dropped a lot, and right above the altar, a full moon slowly emerged. Above the full moon seemed to contain quite mysterious fluctuations, and not long after that, a shadowy figure flew out directly above the full moon. "Why are you so impulsive? Don't you want to wait for me?" An ethereal voice slowly entered Xiao Yan's ears, and then Xiao Yan only felt that the fighting spirit that was surging in his body was being suppressed, and his body was also affected by a shadow, slowly hold. "Who are you?" And King Xuanling looked at the figure that suddenly appeared, and added the rather mysterious full moon just above the altar. He couldn't help asking the figure in front of him. "He is my benefactor. If you hurt him, you will die." The visitor gently sent Xiao Yan back to the ground, and then a trace of the power of the bright moonlight in his body entered Xiao Yan's body, temporarily calming the injury, and then suddenly lifted into the air. A burst of extremely terrifying fluctuations suddenly radiated out. "Is this Yueru?" Xiao Yi couldn't help but ask when she saw the figure who appeared at the last minute. Looking at her strength, I am afraid that her inheritance is successful, and her strength has reached the ranks of fighting immortals. Long Yi couldn't help saying, "You have the aura of fairy moonlight on you." King Xuanling was naturally well informed, and in just a short moment, he could smell the bright aura on Yueru's body. "She's my teacher, but you're just an outsider from the evil race." But there is no qualification to mention the teacher's name. Yueru's beautiful eyes moved slightly, and a murderous intent suddenly emerged. "Damn, this Xiao Yan is messing around with flowers. He is even worse than me." The Soul Eater Lord on the side scolded secretly, apparently from Yueru's attitude towards Zanji hungry just now. He. The relationship between the two is definitely not simple. "Since that's the case, then I will capture you and force out Fairy Moon's power, which is another great help for me." "Ha ha ha." King Xuanling laughed unquestionably when he heard this. "Then let's see if you have the ability." Yueru let out a snarl and launched an attack directly. Alas! And Xiao Yan sighed slightly after being temporarily rescued by Yueru. "Why are the people around me so much stronger than me?" But at the next moment, Xiao Yan also knew that if he wanted to really kill King Xuanling, he would have to rely on the power of Holy Flame. 3 shifts from morning to afternoon, take a 10-minute break and then work, ask for a ticket. End of this chapter. Continuing from the previous episode 1088. Damn! King Xuanling found out that Yueru had not been completely destroyed by his own attack, and immediately did not hesitate. There were circles of black ghosts, the power of blood-colored evil, and the power of black and white life and death. 3 kinds of power appeared directly, and immediately formed 3 tyrannical energy barriers on its body. Even King Xuanling could smell an extremely terrifying power from Yueru's attack. Whoosh whoosh! But no matter what defense King Xuanling did, the silver bow and arrow was still like a world-breaking arrow, and in a short period of time, the evil power above the altar sky was completely driven away. Immediately, the speed skyrocketed, and it shot towards the direction where King Xuanling was located, as if no one could stop him. "Block me!" King Xuanling looked at the unstoppable silver moon bow and arrow like no one, and in a few breaths, his attack was completely dissipated, and then he shouted, 3 strands above his body. Strength is increasing. King Xuanling, it's time to end. No one can survive under a single blow from the Silver Moon Bow. After Yueru issued this blow, her entire body was in a state of sluggishness. Obviously, this seemingly easy bow cost a lot of money. I don't believe this, King. Before King Xuanling finished speaking, the silver bow and arrow slowly hit King Xuanling. The outermost layer. At this time, the silver bow and arrow came 10 meters away from King Xuanling, and the speed suddenly slowed down. Because King Xuanling is outside his body, a barrier of ghost energy is set up at 10 meters, a barrier of power of evil is set up at 5 meters, and a barrier of power of life and death is set at 3 meters. Peefed. When the outermost ghost barrier was not able to stop the silver bow and arrow for a few breaths, it shattered with a click. And as the outermost barrier was broken, King Xuanling's complexion became ugly, and the silver bow and arrow, however, increased in momentum, attacking the second barrier of King Xuanling. Hold me up. King Xuanling looked at the silver bow and arrow for a moment, then came to the second floor, and couldn't help roaring. Shabu shabu. The second layer of barriers seemed to collapse faster than the first layer. Because among the silver bows and arrows, there have been many suppression of the evil power of foreign evil races since ancient times. King Xuanling's use of evil power as a barrier is tantamount to sending death. The last floor. The eyes of Xiaoyan and Mu Yingying below all became heavy. Because they knew that whether the silver bow and arrow could injure King Xuanling, it was up to them this time. Crash! A circle of even more terrifying power of life and death was constantly vented from King Xuanling. Obviously, he had learned to be smart at this time, and the ghost energy and evil power in his body were unable to resist the silver bow and arrow. Divine power. Only the power of life and death cultivated by oneself. Weng Om! The silver bow and arrow were quite terrifying at first, but after breaking through the two barriers one after another, their aura greatly diminished, and even when resisting the last layer of King Xuanling's defense, there was a feeling of powerlessness. Ha ha ha! You are finished. I not only want to swallow the holy flame, but also swallow you all. King Xuanling felt the sudden weakening of the power in the silver bow and arrow, and then laughed wildly. Alas! And seeing this scene, Long Yi Xiaoyi and Mu Yingying shook their heads. Obviously such a tyrannical attack was useless. It's not over yet, you can't give up. When Yueru saw this scene, a dazzling power of the bright moon poured out on the silver bow and arrow. Kacha! The next moment, an astonishing crack opened slowly from above the barrier of King Xuanling's life and death. How is that possible? And the ecstasy of King Xuanling just now completely solidified at this moment, and his face became like an ice cube. In the face of Fairy Moon's relic, the attack from the silver fairy bow, even the Xuanling King, has to pay attention. Impossible, impossible, impossible. King Xuanling stared 3 meters away from his body, and the black and white barrier of life and death became more and more obvious, and he kept roaring. King Xuanling, it's time to end. Silver bow and arrow, the power of destruction. And seeing this scene, Yueru's heart was also relieved, and she let out a coquettish anger, and then the silver bow and arrow directly broke through the black and white barrier of life and death of the Xuanling King, hitting the Xuanling King heavily. At this moment, among the huge crowd of 9-star Do Emperor and 8-star Do Emperor that Long Yi and Xiao Yi had to deal with, a figure suddenly swept towards King Xuanling, and the speed was so fast that Xiao Yan and the others did not discover. Boom! When the silver bow and arrow hit the Xuanling King, in the center of the altar, a doomsday light slowly radiated from the center of the explosion. The energy ripples generated by its explosion could easily kill some weak human powerhouses. The shocking explosion lasted for about 3 minutes. During the 3 minutes, King Xuanling's breath was stagnant to the extreme. No one noticed it, as if he had completely fallen. However, Xiao Yan felt the pure fluctuations on the ghost-faced, soul-flavored Saint Yanjing 3 minutes after the explosion. Obviously, the Xuanling King was seriously injured even if he did not die. Because of this appearance, it was a trace of the blood demon causing the remaining power to be completely wiped out. From now on, this ghost-faced soul flame is Xiao Yan's thing, and Xiao Yan is quite happy. It's finally over. After a while, Yueru slowly put away the short blade and the Yinyu immortal bow, and then walked towards the land of the altar below. Xiao Yan, are you all right? As soon as she arrived on land, Yueru returned to her lively and cheerful appearance. "I'm fine," Xiao Yan said immediately after seeing Yueru being so arrogant. "These are." Yueru heard the words, and immediately turned her gaze to the three figures bound by the three evil pillars beside her. "This is." Xiao Yan was fooled by Yueru's question. He couldn't just say that this is my wife like he told Mu Yingying before. "I'm Xiao Yan's wife." Kai Lin also glanced at Yueru, and found that this woman was not only of outstanding strength, but also had a face that could be called Shu Yue Shaohua, so she hurriedly swore an oath of sovereignty. "I'm Xiao Yan's partner." Mu Yingying opened her mouth slightly. "Wife?" Yueru's smile just now fell silent after hearing Kailin's cold words. The word wife has already expressed too much. "Sorry, I should have told you about this earlier." When Xiao Yan heard the words, he nodded secretly, and then apologized. "But, you clearly..." Yueru could not help digesting such a huge amount of information in a short period of time. She pointed at Xiao Yan with her jade hand, and a touch of sadness appeared in her heart. "It's not right. Although Fairy Moon's Silver Moon Immortal Bow is tyrannical, I'm afraid it doesn't have the ability to kill King Xuanling with a single blow. And if you kill the Xuanling King, these people should return to normal." The Soul Eater Lord on the side looked at Zon Kang and the next strong men without any change in their expressions. With a touch of fear, it poured into my heart, and hurriedly shouted, "Xiao Yan, be careful, Xuanling Wang Hai is not dead. Little chops, give me death." The Soul Eater Lord's voice had not yet fallen. When Yueru fell into a sluggishness, a voice like a deadly king of hell slowly resounded through the entire altar. Immediately, an incomparably huge black chain suddenly strung out from under the land of the altar, and then slammed away at the four gods and no masters Yueru. "Be careful," and Xiao Yan paid attention to every move around the altar the whole time. Seeing that the chain had just appeared, it was too late to save Yueru. The figure fell towards Yueru and pushed her hard to send Yueru away from the chain. Attack range. And Xiao Yan did this for Yueru's safety, and was directly hit by the chain. It's just that Xiao Yan's pupils saw two overlapping figures at the place where the sky exploded before. Headache tomorrow or 2 days, it will be over before 1200 explodes. End of this chapter. Continuing from the previous episode 1089. How could it be possible? The body was instantly penetrated by the pitch-black chain, and then a large pool of blood slowly flowed from Xiao Yan's chest like a small stream from the wound in Xiao Yan's body, although it was avoided by Xiao Yan impartially. The key point was, but such a blow still caused Xiao Yan to suffer quite a bit. All of this happened between lightning and flint. Xiao Yan, and when Xiao Yan suffered such a big change, Mu Yingying, Kailin and Yueru's 3 daughters hurriedly shouted, and there was a hint of heartache in their eyes. Yueru didn't think about other things. She hugged Xiao Yan in an instant. Voices of pain kept coming out. Tears couldn't stop flowing down. Obviously she was a bit remorseful. "It won't be so badly injured, it's all because of myself. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect this Silver Moon bow and arrow to be so tyrannical. If it wasn't for the shield, I'm afraid I would have been seriously injured." And Xiao Yan was attacked like this, and a mad laugh with evil intentions came from the sky. "Damn, this King Xuanling is a powerhouse who has mastered Ghost Qi, power of evil, and power of life and death. I'm afraid even the powerhouses in the early stage of the 2-star Do Xian can't handle it." The Soul Eater said, "King Xuanling," and Yueru looked up and stared at King Xuanling with resentment, as if she could swallow him abruptly. At this time, King Xuanling's voice was quite sinister, and in front of that body was a rather familiar figure standing. The deputy head of the Wolf Eagle Legion, the old man. At this time, the turbid old man's breath was extremely sluggish, as if he was on the verge of death. On the other hand, right in front of old Joe's chest, there is a very conspicuous scar, which is the chest that was penetrated by the Yinyu immortal bow just now. Peefed! King Xuanling threw the old man's body lightly, and then it fell from the air like a dead object. Zhou Lao was used by the Xuanling King to resist the fatal blow of the Yinyu bow and arrow at the critical moment, and so he fell completely, and the Xuanling King's body, except for the phantom of the Blood Demon envoy at the chest, was smashed by the Yinyu fairy bow. Besides, there was no injury whatsoever. I really underestimate you. Not only did I lose a capable general of the 9-star Do Di, but I also destroyed the phantom of the Gorfiend that I swallowed. King Xuanling looked like a supreme monarch, looking at Yueru below, and smiled. Damn. This isn't dead. Yueru hugged Xiaoyan, and a trace of strength from her body continued to gather towards Xiaoyan. Next, I will let you taste the storm of *** with your own eyes. After the Xuanling king finished speaking, he raised his hands high, showing a tendency to drag the sky. Above, a force after another whistled towards the Xuanling king. Boom, boom, boom. As King Xuanling attacked like this, circles of blood-red death ripples continued to emerge on the entire altar that had been wrapped. This guy, Yueru said softly. She was about to start, but she was surprised by the scene in front of her. Leave it to me. Xiaoyan forcibly stood up, and then a flame prismatic crystal flashing with blue light suddenly appeared in everyone's sight. Crash! With a soft sound, an extremely terrifying ghost flame burst out from above the blue-colored holy flame crystal, and it easily burned the chain running through the chest into nothingness. This is ghost-faced soul flame? As soon as this thing appeared, Yan Kai on the side couldn't help roaring. That's not enough. Xiaoyan looked at the scorching power of ghost-faced soul flame, and then a dangerous arc appeared at the corner of his mouth, and a crazy thought suddenly burst out. Now, this is the only way. Otherwise, if the consumption continues like this, I am afraid that everyone here will die. Come out. As Xiaoyan's voice fell, a rather pleasant explosion sounded in the entire sky. 2 holy flames? How could it be possible? And with the appearance of the cyan holy flame crystal and the khaki yellow holy flame crystal, the pupils of King Xuanling, who was brewing a fatal blow in the sky, shrank suddenly, and a fear was born from the bottom of his heart. The power of the holy flame can only be gradually revealed when it reaches the 9-star Do Emperor, but it can be said without hesitation that the power of the holy flame is taboo among the powerhouses of the same level. After all, the power of the holy flame is extraordinary. This guy, what are you planning to do by summoning the power of 2 holy flames? Mu Yingying and Yan Kai both looked at each other. Obviously, even if they were holy flames, they had never heard of the power of 2 holy flames. Coexist as one. I have long heard that Shenju Fenju can combine the power of different holy flames, thus giving birth to a more terrifying power. I remember when the ancient Emperor Tuosh used the power of 3 holy flames, only the strength of the 3-star Do Xian in the early stage, he killed the strong 4-star Do Xian abruptly, and by virtue of the burning decision, he finally stood in the world of Daqin world. Strong, the Soul Eater said slowly. On the other hand, at Long Yi and Xiao Yi, the 2 of them dealt with the 8-star and 9-star Do Di, and they were also vaguely unsupported. However, the Soul Eater is quite relaxed here, and if it hadn't been for when the Golden Dragon King left, Xiaoyan would have had a catastrophe today. Coupled with the Soul Eater talisman and the power of the 2 evil soldiers of the Blood River Bell, it can directly kill these 1-star and 2-star fighting immortals. Yueru, give me 3 minutes. After Xiaoyan summoned 2 Saint Flame crystals, he was not idle and said directly. Is there any danger? Yueru couldn't help but ask. Yes, but it's worth it. Facing Yueru's concern, Xiaoyan said with a conspicuous smile slightly leaking from the corner of his mouth. As soon as the voice fell, Xiaoyan's palm, a khaki yellow holy flame crystal, and a cyan holy flame crystal, on top of the 2 holy flame crystals, an extremely terrifying flame force was slowly born. The next moment, Xiaoyan's eyes narrowed tightly, then he gritted his teeth slightly, and a smear appeared decisively. His eyes were fixed on the 2 holy flame crystals that exuded the power of destruction on the palm of his hand. The Saint Flame crystal moved directly towards it. Crazy, definitely a lunatic, but the King Xuanling who saw Xiaoyan's scene above the sky became trembling. Even if King Xuanling collected countless information about holy flames, none of them said that holy flames can be merged. Sheng Yan is like an overlord and monarch in the fire, and each flower is unruly. If you want to combine the power of 2 sacred flames, according to Zan Lingwang's guess, there is probably only one result. Exploded and died, instantly fell. I will detonate 23 kinds of different fires at the price. If the holy flames in the fusion zone are not successful, then it will be a little funny. Xiaoyan's face was calm, and then he gritted his teeth bitterly, and endured the clump in the palm of his hand. The powerful repulsive force emitted when the cyan flame and the khaki flame gather. Feng Ju, turn it around for me. Feeling the increasingly crazy power in the two holy flame crystals, Xiaoyan couldn't help roaring as if he could instantly kill Xiaoyan in the next moment. Wang buzzing, and with Xiaoyan roaring like this, the Fenju deep inside the body started to run at a high speed, and with the operation of Fenju, the repulsive force in the two holy flames actually weakened faintly. Bang bang bang! A muffled groan emanated directly from Xiaoyan's mouth and nose. Obviously, as the two Saint Flame crystals got closer and closer, the resulting rejection became stronger and stronger. I hope you don't have any trouble. Seeing Xiaoyan so desperately, Yueru got up and roared towards King Xuanling. Now, she only needs to buy 3 minutes for Xiaoyan. It will continue to erupt today and tomorrow, and it will end here completely. End of this chapter.